Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I am here with a book tag. The book tag that I'm going to be completing is the JFK book tag, which was created by Literally Kerry, who did a great job putting this together. And she did a fine job feeding her interest in John F. Kennedy, and this is a tag that was really well put together, really examines every aspect of John F. Kennedy's life, and the way that this tag works is many of these questions have a bookish prompt, but some of them also have things to talk about beyond Kennedy himself. So let's get started. The first prompt is Tenuvus and one more. Rose and Joe Sr. had a boat called Tenuvus to signify the 10 members of the Kennedy clan. With the birth of Ted, the family named another boat One More. What book with a large cast of characters would you recommend? And for that, I'm going to go with The Fortune of the Rogons and any of the other books in the Rogon McCourt series. This was written by Emil Zola. To be honest, this is the only book that I've read thus far, but I am inclined to read more of what the series has to offer, for I feel that it really does a fine job giving us a depiction and making us feel something for two major families that are mentioned within this piece, mentioned within the series title. The person that I really like the most within the series is Pascal Rogon. He is he's a doctor, and from the way that he's described, I have a feeling that he is neurodivergent in some way, and it's definitely something that I would like to read more into, and he actually has a book that centers around him during the series. So this would be something I'd like to continue reading into, especially if I can get all of them translated into English, ideally in the same publisher. Next is PT 109. What is your favorite book featuring a harrowing survival, rescue, or war story? For that, I'm going to go with The Martian by Andy Weir. This book was amazing. It really did a fine job capturing the essence of a survival story, but at the same time having a central character in Mark Watney who displayed a straightforward sense of humor, and he knew that he was in a crappy situation, but the way that he handled it and the way he responded to it really had a lot to do with his ability to keep going. And I think that Andy Weir does a fantastic job with his display of the scientific knowledge and incorporating it into this piece while also making this piece entertaining. Next one is Addisons Disease. What is your favorite book that deals with disease or the medical field? And for that, it is the best book that I read in 2017, and that is He Wanted the Moon by Mimi Baird with Eve Claxton. And this has to do with Dr. Perry Baird, and Mimi is his daughter. She's looking to learn more about her father, who lived with manic depression, which today is known as bipolar disorder, and how it slowly, it caused him to crumble. He had to be institutionalized. Then he was given a lobotomy, and that never made him... He was never the same after that, and he would die from taking a seizure in a bathtub because of the state in which his brain was left after that lobotomy. But he was a dermatologist. However, she also learns that he was engaging in pioneering research on manic depression and how it is physiological as opposed to psychological. But the way that this was written and the way that this was put together and arranged, because it also incorporates some of his journaling based off of his experiences in the institution. This is just a fantastic book. Next one is Camelot. What real or imagined dynasty would you like to read more about? And to be quite honest, I'm not necessarily into dynasties and royalty as far as history is concerned. I have more interest in individual people, but I would like to learn more about the Kennedy family. And if we're looking at something from a greater range, I have an interest in popes. This is a big book on popes that I got, and would definitely be inclined to learn more about each of them, from St. Peter all the way to our current Pope Francis. Next is High Hopes. Frank Sinatra re-recorded this song for Kennedy's 1960 presidential campaign. If you ran for office, what would your campaign song be? I really like this question because it's something that I have put some thought into. And contingent on the fact that I get approval, the song that I would choose is Take a Chance on Me by ABBA. Next is We Choose to Go to the Moon. Name the last book you read that was set in space. The Star Fox by Paul Anderson. I read this for an upcoming Season 14 discussion for Literary Gladiators. Next is Coconut. The coconut shell JFK carved a rescue message on during the PT-109 incident was encased in plastic and used as a paperweight in the Oval Office. Do you have any neat desk items or mementos? Unfortunately, I would have to say no, because the space that I do have I like to use for books, because I have a lot of them. Next one is Scandal. What personal or political scandal would you like to read more about? I would say Watergate is something that I would like to read more about. And even though they are not considered to be scandals from the historical or political sense, I would like to learn more about the Warren Commission and the Pentagon Papers. Next one is Peace Corps. What book made you a better person? It's a tough one, but I think one that really made me think more about the world around me and how me and others respond to it. I'm going to go with Demian by Hermann Hesse. And question number 10 is Conspiracy. What are your thoughts on the Kennedy assassination? It was not a lone gunman, for sure. We went over in our 9th season The Last Investigation by Gaten Fonzie. Fonzie was an investigator for the House Select Committee on Assassinations and the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, and the major concentration on this is the CIA and their connection during the John F. Kennedy assassination. But as far as the assassination itself is concerned, why I would highly doubt that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone person to shoot is based off of the way and the angles in which the shots took place. There were 3 shots that got into range and had an effect on the assassination itself. The first one, which I believe was from Oswald, missed. The second one, which was could have very well been from Oswald, it grazed John F. Kennedy and hit someone else in the vehicle. The third one was the lethal one, and that was coming from a completely different angle. And they were all taking place within the same time. So, based off of that, it would not have been possible for Lee Harvey Oswald to have been able to reload and just get that third one out. The way that it is perceived, the third bullet came from a county building. I think that there were more, and I believe there was a great range of people that were involved in the assassination of John F. Kennedy, because I think that they had a lot. I think that there was a lot going on, that Kennedy posed a threat to the endeavors of the political establishment at that time. And after the death of Kennedy, they immediately sworn Lyndon B. Johnson in on the airplane going back. And at that point, there was an escalation in the unpopular Vietnam War. Kennedy didn't want to be getting involved in that. And whereas the establishment and the media can manipulate a bad impression on someone if they wish to, it was almost impossible to do so with Kennedy. And Kennedy was up for re-election. If he would have won in a bigger landslide than Lyndon B. Johnson a year later. And there would have also been a good chance that Robert F. Kennedy would have ran in 1968 following John F. Kennedy. And if things were going well with the Kennedy administration, I think that they would have wanted to continue to engage in and ride on that success. But I do believe that, as I said before, I think that there's a lot of things that we don't know about the Warren Commission. I think that the general population, the common people, should know more. It did come out that Lyndon B. Johnson was a member of the KKK, which that really, with everything that's tied together, you see a lot of contradictories and hypocrisy among the American establishment, and people like Lyndon B. Johnson and other political figures. When I was reading The Last Investigation, one name that stuck out as being part of that committee was Arlen Specter. Arlen Specter is a career politician who continued to serve as a senator even when Obama was elected. He had just lost re-election after being in the Senate for years in 2010. And that was after he switched from the Republican Party to the Democrat Party. But long story short, even though I would like to read more on the topic of John F. Kennedy and the JFK assassination, my conclusion would be that there were more people involved than just one lone gunman. Thank you for tuning into this tag. The only person that I'm going to tag to do this is my good friend Gretchen from Betwixt the Books, who is really feeding her great interest in American presidential history. And she's engaged in an American president reading challenge where she wants to read biographies on all of the presidents. And I think she's read plenty on John F. Kennedy. Thank you for tuning in, and for now, keep reading.